Alright guys, I'm just showing off my Imperial Guard army. This is the Svatoi 62nd, the Iron Legion. And it is the army I've been working on since about 2007. So about 15 years now. As you can see, it's expanded a little bit over the years. Started off with just simple infantry squad and going down the rabbit hole. Its current manpower is 1,056 conscripts, or infantry rather, and 67 vehicles. So we got everything from chimeras. We have a navy wing in here. We have a ton of Russes, hellhounds, three regular bane blades, a shadow sword, artillery pieces, all the mortar units in the back, las cannons, heavy weapon teams, ogrins, special weapons, commissars. So I'll go over all this in a minute, but basically what I did for this army is I try to structure it after the Marine Corps, their MCRP 5 TAC 12 Delta handbook, or now it's the MCRP 1 TAC 10.1. It's basically the outline of how the Marine Corps structures their armies, or their fighting forces rather. So today we have the 1st Infantry Regiment, 2nd Battalion. So we have Grizzly Company there, Falcon Companies, these two. The Green Cards, that's our H&S company. We have the 1st Tank Battalion with a couple different companies in there. Anvil and Beast are the front two Lehman Russes. And back we have Castle and Devil is up there. And of course, the big scary ones. There's the 11th Artillery Regiment with a subset of the 12th Artillery Regiment from the 63rd Svatoi. So they're here to bring some of that good high-powered rockets, precision stuff, and those are just the ground pound ordnance. We have the first light armored recon battalion with 12 Sentinels, with the Angel and Blade companies. And yeah, we got our assault amphibian battalion, third, with the Aquila company. But got 10 different units here, a lot of different varieties. I know this is not how the GW organizes their guard typically, and the codex is a little bit different with how they had out their platoons and their company command and stuff, but I thought it would be a little more fun to add some realism to it with some liberties taken, a few rounding up things, because, things don't translate the best from real world applications into, our game that we play. So kind of just a deeper dive into what I've got. So they're saying here is our 1st Regiment, 2nd Battalion Grizzly. So if you were in here, you'd be Grizzly 2-1. So I have 3 different rifle sections that have their platoon headquarters, HQ. The same with the 2nd Platoon. And then I have a 3rd Platoon. And then just like with that, I have my Falcon Company. So Falcon Company, a lot of these guys are old Empire handgunners. I converted, I gave them either las guns, or on the back I gave them ammo pouches, grenades, because I eventually ran out of arms, believe it or not. These are old Bretonnian bowmen, but in the Gaunt's Ghost, Ezra Nightshade uses a crossbow to great effect, so figure why couldn't there be like a high-powered assisted bow, YOLO. Got some catechins, just kind of my riff-raff, so whenever I play my games, a lot of these were conscripts, at least in my lore. A lot of these are more conscript based, where these are more the regular frontline troopers. If you saw here in my 3rd platoon, that's my specialist guy. So I have my Scions in here. There's some old Steel Legion models, Inquisitorial Stormtroopers, Kazarkan, which are coming out hopefully soon. So my head canon with this is these are a lot more of my well-trained or promoted guys. I know technically that you wouldn't have Scions and their IG detachment. They're their own Schola Progenum stuff, but my army, my rules. Looking over here at some of our 1st Tank Battalion. So we have Anvil Company with 1st and 2nd Platoon. There's lots of Russes and battle cannons here. A lot of these are so you can tell they're really old Russ models, different turrets. Only a few of them are the newer turrets, which have these little vents and the flares on the side. So, got those there. Then I have Beast Company. So, got those. Different loadouts here, not as regular. A lot of my stuff, so you can tell, I went through and I weather and kind of just beat the hell out of it. I'm kind of going for a grungy, World War II type vibe. Everything's all been out in the field. Had a lot of scuffs up, a lot of damage. Hasn't had time to go back to the shop to get repaired properly. Here we have our castle company. So I got 3 Hellhound variants. And of course the big one in the back, Devil Company, with my big old Lords of War. So funnily enough, when I built these, the first 3, the Bane Blades, this was back when we had firing arcs. So I put the las cannons, the heavy bolters in the back so they have the widest range. Whereas the Shadow Sword, which is more anti-tank, I decided to go for a slightly less range on the heavy bolters, but ebbed up a little bit so I have that extra, 2 inches when measuring out and shooting anti-tank stuff. So it's kind of just fun that my army has a lot of different history with different rule sets, because I've started playing at the tail end of 4th edition, 5th edition time, and it's been a wild trip since then. And of course, the Devil Company has their maintenance platoon. It's a little rock grinder. I thought it just looks like a really sick model, so it's in there as a kind of like a repair truck or any other towing capabilities it needs. Just pretty sick little model. From our artillery, that 11th Artillery Regiment I was talking about, here's the 1st Battalion. So my artillery kind of went with a different theme. So all my themes are pretty foresty. I have like a feudal world type vibe going on with some archaeotech. So this is Autumn Company, then we have Blizzard Company, it's a little more weather based, whereas a lot of these tanks were more mean-sized animals. So again, just 4 basilisks, got a Hydra Wyvern variant. I can take the barrels out, that's why they're kind of a little cockeyed, but some Thud guns. I've had pretty decent success with them recently in games, though honestly I prefer the mortars nowadays. I think they're just that much more point efficient, especially with Hammer of the Emperor. And then here was that loaned out from the 63rd Svatoi, 12th Artillery Regiment, 3rd Battalion, Ivy. And again, a lot of this was structured off the Marine Corps, more specifically the 1st Marine Division. So I can post links up to all my stuff. They're public documents. They're super cool. Sadly enough, I found out that the 1st Marine Division actually got rid of their armor battalion, their tank battalion. Apparently they're trying to restructure things. So it's cool. Right as I finished all this, I found out that the tanks aren't technically in the Marines anymore, in the 1st Marine Division anyways. Going on, we have the 1st Light Armored Recon. So we have Angel and then Blade. My thinking here is these are going to be real quick, kind of delivering the Emperor's justice to his foes wherever they hide. So I kind of gave them appropriate company names for it. And somewhat similar is the 3rd Assault Amphibian, or Aquila Company. It just sounded like a pretty cool name. A lot of these try to stick to the, Alpha Bravo Charlie, but I wanted to give them Warhammer flair, so it wasn't just so, real world. It had a little more fun to it. Here I've got my little Imperial Advisors. So I got one little Space Marine here who was actually one of my first models I ever got. Still original paint job. He was from a White Dwarf magazine. I thought it looked super cool. And when I saw how well that, in the time was called Dark Angels green color was, that's where I got the inspiration to start painting all my troopers with the same type of, it's now Caliban green, but I just thought it looked really cool. And then my wife helped me pick out all the yellow badges for the helmets and stuff. Kind of gives them a little something that pops. Going over here, so we have the 1st Regiment, 2nd Battalion, the H&S, Headquarter and Supply, I believe, HQ. So a lot of different officers in there. And I do have a, Creed, Strachan, and that was one of my first Guard models, that beautifully painted officer. If you can see, I've kind of improved a little bit in the meantime. Got pretty little standards, everything, because why not? Cutting down to the Grizzly and Falcon, their headquarters. So 3 infantry squad, and then Old Metal, Katie and Commander, some other sergeants. I went through and actually, I have ranks to everybody. I have so much paperwork. I'll show that at the end if I don't forget. But yeah, here's the Falcon HQ, a lot of random guys. My brother actually, these were his models, so he painted them. These were eventually going to be like a sort of Team America type vibe, but that never panned out. But they have all sorts of silly conversions. Harker, and then, grenade dude, more grenades and more grenades, why not? Going on, here's one of my Valkyries. I love the first original animated Clone Wars by Gendy Tartakovsky, I believe is his name. So I painted up as the ARC Trooper gunship. Even gave them highlights, little stripes, just because it's fun. Why not? And I love the tiger mouth, shark mouth. So we have H&S auxiliary section. Again, just a ton of Ogrins. Not all my stuff's painted, as you can see there, but probably I only have about 50 or so more infantry to paint, and then very few vehicles. Like I only have that Chimera, that Basilisk over there. H&S, we have our special weapons section. So a lot of just Meltas, Plasmas, heavy flamers, a bunch of regular stuff. In the Marine Corps and the H&S company, there's a lot of different sections, so I kind of had little creative liberties and fun assigning it. So this is the S1 section for personnel. I figured who better to be in charge of the personnel than the commissars. So they're attached in there. I got old Steel Legion commanders, but look super commissary. So got that. Got my boy Yarick, who's always fun. The S2 section is intelligence. So I figured I count this as psychers and stuff because they're kind of brainy and smart. Sure, why not? Over here we have our scout sniper section. Got some rattlings. Got the old Empire handgunners. They're Hochland long rifles. And I love those boys in the front, especially the little beret guy. The berets are so cool. Over here we have the medical platoon. So it's a bunch of medical guys. And then here's one of my favorite conversions I've done. So it was a undead corpse cart that I made into like a meat wagon for guardsmen. So you can see there's some maimed guys in there. Bullet wounds actually drew out blood. Dude kind of going around. So he's the medical quartermaster maybe. Goes around and kind of gets the bodies back for the corpse starch. Tasty stuff. We have our service platoon. So tech priests, servitors, chaplain section. Those are Empire flagellants that I painted up. Gave them ammo packs and other Aquila icons. There's Thaddeus or whatever his name is. Old metal priest. And kind of walk over here. Here's a very poorly painted Valkyrie I did, sort of Death Clock inspired. So it has a very crude attempt on the skull logo and the actual Death Clock. One day I'll redo this properly. The day's not today. So looking at our Grizzly company, we are now looking at the weapons section. So I have 3 anti-armor platoons. So there. These I had a lot of fun adding in the milliput. It was a lot of work and so many sandbags. I think the effect came out quite nice. Over here, a bunch of my missile launchers. Again, with all their proper leadership to make sure they have orders and everything. And again, regimented per how the Marine Corps likes to describe things. So not like what Guard does, but it's pretty fun. And these 2 yellow ones, this is the Falcon Company, their weapons section. So I have mortars and las cannons, Steel Legion models, and then a lot of heavy bolters and some missile launchers because they didn't fit anywhere else. Some of these guys, have maps up calling out like artillery strikes when they're coordinating some of this firepower. Overall just a lot of fun with those. And these are the only models I had a friend paint for me. So airbrushing saves lives. I don't ever airbrush. All the rest of this is hand painted. I just think it has such a nice look overall, but I was tired of these guys just being plain and gray. So I went through, gave them little navy badges, add nice little weathering effects. So thanks, Travis. Really appreciate it. It's super cool. But yeah, so that's just a kind of overview of my whole entire forces. And to go on what I was talking about earlier, I have 10 million pieces of paper where I try to figure all this out. So here was the rough kind of structure, and I have things about what rank is going to be there for which command officer, how it breaks down, what units actually go into what. I just wanted to go through and actually detail, all the facts behind it. I went and broke down that Marine Corps book into something that was a little more legible for what I needed and my purposes, because everything's so just heckin' confusing. And also I try to detail out like how many men would it require to fully fill out all the positions below it. So I can proudly say, though, I have the whole entire 2nd Battalion for 2 companies. So that was a pretty fun thing to actually get that box checked. Then I have, a lot of the H&S stuff that actually matters. There were some additional things that weren't super relevant that, be more not frontline type roles. So I kept those to a minimum. Yeah, and you can see just how some of this snakes out. I had to use letters because it would go on from one page to the next. I want to make sure I could keep track of where it was going. My artillery regiment, tracks down to sea. That's the Navy aircraft wing that's supporting me. Just more numbers, trying to figure out how many bodies goes in what I'm actually working with. More papers and stuff. Overall, the ton of work I put into this, definitely been a passion project. I'm very fortunate that I had Matt Stewart, one of my Marine buddies, who's actually able to help me, a civilian, kind of break down what means what and how to actually recreate it. So overall, a very fun project of mine. This is a big part of my life, big part of who I am. It helps me whenever I want to run, 300 conscripts. I can run 600. I think the most I ever ran was 1,200 conscripts at an apocalypse game. I only brought my 1,000 models, but after the first round, over 200 had died, so I was able to fill in the ranks and keep them going. My guys, they get on base, they work hard, they play hard. So I kind of just do some walk around camera shots. Bunch of little flags and banners. And again, just row upon row upon row of troopers. All these hand painted, still need to go through and paint some of my old metal models. I want to seal them up nice and safe. Glory Boys. This is some of my 300 that I take to all those tournaments I've been doing since the beginning of 9th edition. I've been playing heavy infantry, as you can tell, ever since I started. I just love a lot of the boots on ground approach, bodies over bullets, little Imperial visors, again, just all these transports. I'm not a huge tank person. I do have a ton because, why not? They're cool, but again, whenever I can play, I always prefer to do infantry. I just think it's such a unique way the army can run. There's a lot of different sentinels. My little death strikes. I actually custom made the little launcher because I got 2 of these from friends that didn't have, so I only had enough pieces to make one of the tops because I didn't have both of them for whatever reason. So I threw and just scratch built those. So they're pretty decent. Hopefully they get better with their next book. I've heard promising things. Thud guns, again, nice, but right now I'm all about mortars, especially with Cadia. Reroll everything to hit, 6s go through, so the strength doesn't matter. My lovely Shadow Sword, one of my favorite vehicles. I'm an infantry lover, but man, this tank always gets me. Baneblade 1, Baneblade 2, 3, Basilisks. Huge fan of these from Dawn of War, the Earthshaker rounds. So many fun quotes in the game. Bunch of mortars. Oh, these were 3 rounds that I reloaded to be my markers. No primer or powder in them. But I have sticky tack, or little blue tack stuff. So when I go to tournaments, I can actually sticky tack them on there. And as I shoot them, move them one by one. There's a little precision targets, bullets for targets. So I just thought the red tip looked cool. It looked more like that, classic ICBM or whatever type of missiles we always see in the media. Speaking of ICBM, big ass rockets. All those heavy weapons, and again, just another view of my little meat wagon. This was a lot of fun to paint, a lot of fun to create. There were zombies on the front I had to cut off, gave them horses from all my Empire stuff. Little medic guy. I just love all the corpses in it. That was a pain trying to figure out how to get them all to fit. Moving stuff around, cutting off arms, green stuff in. Overall, it's a lot of fun. One of my other first models I painted along with that company commander from earlier, a little metal guy. Whenever I tried doing stop motion, spoilers, it did not end well. All my pretty commissars. This is a War Games exclusive, I think, female commissar. One of my friends got it for me a couple years ago, and they came out with the Severina Rain, so she's actually a model now, which is pretty neat. More special weapons. My Ogrins. Eventually I'll do them, give them the justice they deserve. I'm just walking over, looking at all my sandbags and heavy weapon guys. now that they're free, if I ever didn't take, my 300 conscripts, I definitely have a lot of free 20-point las cannons, which are always a good time. Yeah, kind of just walk through them. Got my mortars. Again, something out. Braze. He's my favorite little mortar guy. I love how he looks. Just the little badge is so sharp and breaks up a lot of my drab contrast. Or drab, fatigues and stuff. And big boy, I've only ever bought twice in Apocalypse game. Has died in the first round both times, but, it's pretty cool. Not competitive, but I think it's awesome. All my Navy flyers. Yeah, so that's the overview of my army. I think the only other thing I have is, in order to keep all this dust free, I have a few cases I put things in. Try to get it all in frame. So all these smaller ones, little things for paper, they all have metal in them, everything's magnetized. So all my infantry go onto these little custom movement trays that I made. Little sheet styrene I heated, bent up, got 22 gauge steel on the bottom. So the magnets on the troopers stick to these. The bottom side of these have magnetic tape. Magnetic tape goes in there. So it's pretty modular. It makes moving the guys a lot easier. Makes taking the tournaments viable. Otherwise, it's not moving trays. You just could not do that many models on the clock. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good overview. Yeah, so again, my total counts is 1,056 infantry models, and then 67 vehicles. So, just my little las gun in the back. All right, cheers, y'all. Have a great day.